relationship with somebody and it did not work out. But she will still wake up, brave up, and still hustle and do whatsoever she wants to do.
Yeah.
But now, if you have any issue and break up, the whole world has known.
Yeah.
Everybody sees it on your status that you are suffering for a breakup.
Like Regina Daniel's case.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's all over the media.
Yeah.
And everybody is knowing that, no, this is what is happening to you at this particular moment.
Although that is strength to an extent.
Okay.
That's the strength to an extent. Because they purge out their emotions. And so because of that, their mental health to an extent is more stable than our parents or in our age where people kept a lot of things. The Gen Zs nowadays, somebody could be hungry, he puts on his status, I need urgent 2K. And 1 or 2 persons momo the person. You know, they just express their mind. They don't hide anything.
Wow.
They express everything. It looks very stupid, but it purges their emotions, and to an extent they are very stable. Unlike others who are dying on the inside.
And don't speak
out. Your gas is finished. You know, you are struggling with the stove. You cannot eat. You beg Gary here as a student to drink. You know, in our days and so on, you struggle. You barely struggle and so on. But they are more open in that, you know.
In their time.
Yes, they are very open. There are people who don't even have food at home, but they have a way of surviving. Yes, there's a lot of empathy among them. And one of the commentaries you read there talked about social conscience. They have a social conscience. That means they don't love evil per se. They don't love seeing evil and they just get into it. No. If you find them getting into evil, it's out of ignorance. Because social media has blinded them to think that this thing is right and they do it. But naturally, they love social justice. They love to see that everybody is treated equal. That's why you find Gen Zs defending the Bobrisky's, defending whoever. You know, when you want to castigate homosexuals, you find Gen Zs defending them.
Yeah.
They defend even the lesbians. They just feel like you should be liberal. And I think that's where we have to come in now. You know,
to curb those things.
Yes, and caution them to understand that social media has made it to think that these things are very normal, but these things are very abnormal, because even as per the African culture, it doesn't happen. As per even biology, you never see a cock going after a cock. You never see a he-goat going after a he-goat. It doesn't happen. If you check in Islam, it doesn't happen. You check Christianity, it doesn't happen. So where do you come from with a man sleeping with a man, a woman sleeping with a woman? So be careful what you defend. Don't just defend anything because it's your generation. Defend what you think makes sense, what looks right, and so on and so forth. You know, so we need a lot of digital literacy with them, a lot of education with them. They need to learn. They are the age that has so much education or knowledge at their dispensation, but they don't have the patience to actually read those books. And of course, truth, whether we like it or not, the greatest knowledge is not on 2 seconds or 2 minutes TikTok videos. It is in books.
Yeah.
Books will remain, call it digital books. If we don't have the hard copies, digital books remain a storehouse of knowledge. And when you want to move towards social media, we're talking about YouTube, because YouTube has comprehensive knowledge. That means you can watch something for 1 hour, like even this program, and you get a complete knowledge. Not that somebody just go and picks what you just said that is controversial. He goes and posts and they start attacking you online that a journalist said so. Whereas they have just taken that out of context. They never heard what she said before or after. That is what TikTok and the others do to gain followership. But in the end, you don't get comprehensive knowledge. But you from books and from YouTube, you know, you can get lectures, you can follow something comprehensively. You can follow the part 2 of even this edition if we were to have a part 2, and you see catch up and understand the trend from where we are, than to pick up 1 minute slot of what I said or what you said, and you just take it out there. And for example, what I just said about homosexuality, they just move that one and put somewhere.
Everybody is dragging your life
to gain followers and so on. So that's why TikTok cannot give you comprehensive knowledge. So what are we saying as a Gen Z? In as much as you could get the best of TikTok, the best of Facebook Reels, and so on and so forth, you know, you need to get comprehensive knowledge. This is gotten from books and from comprehensive videos or lectures or audios, which are most often found on YouTube and those as such.
You can get all of those things. You can have all of those things. Don't let your child loose. Put an eye on the child. Don't say, no, the child can do anything. Follow that child. Know what the child does at this particular moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on a short break. And we're still on this topic. If you have any worry, you have any concern, remember, speak to your counselor. Is bringing you therapy right to your doorstep. And we are still talking on Gen Z parenting. And when we come back from this short breather, we'll be getting more to something very interesting. All right, so we are talking about Gen Z parenting, and we still have our guest on set, and he's still digesting the topic. If you have feedbacks, our lines are open. Send in your contribution. What do you think about Gen Z parenting? Are you facing a particular phase where you have to caution your child, speak to the child, help the child, yet it's still not moving? Send in your requests, send in your worries, and we are here to answer those questions. We are still back on the same topic, Mr. Orton. You made mention of children taking vows. I was opportune to be among Sunday school teachers, and one of the Sunday school teachers gave an example of her own child being a victim of that. So concerning those kind of things, do those things really happen in schools? And what are some of the measures, maybe as a teacher, you people are putting to be able to help our parents out there? Because I know parenting is not one way.
Of course.
It's a two-way.
It's a collective effort.
It's a three-strand cord. That's how they call it. Where you have the parents, you have other people who are out there looking at your children, and we have God.
Yeah.
So what can you say about that?
Yeah, thanks again, Truth. These blood packs happen.
Wow.
Some are blood packs, some are, I don't want to say normal covenants, because a covenant is not normal. Because if God doesn't honor it, of course the devil honors it. Yeah, so these things happen, and of course it's part of their peculiarities in this age. They're very liberal, and they think they could just do things as they think.
As they want.
Yes, and another thing that increases this thing is the issue of drugs. The more some of them do these things while they're under the influence of drugs, they go very far without knowing the consequences. The other day I was teaching in a school, and I just had to look behind the class. I saw several cans of Wake Up. I don't even know about Wake Up. There's a canned drink called Wake Up, which is even illegal, it's contraband, and it's smuggled into the country, unfortunately. And it's a drug. Wake Up is a drug, and
it's a drink.
It's a drink. It's like beer. There's a lion's picture there like that.
Okay.
Because I've seen it, not knowing that it's Wake Up. Yes, there's a lion's picture there. I knew because I was following up a project, a construction of a house, and I met the workers drinking the thing, and that's when I knew about the thing. That day I went to check what they had done, and the way they were speaking that night,
it looks like they're
yes,
taking something.
And I saw several cans of the thing there and so on. So students take these drugs. We had a case in the school last year where a guy wears the uniform of that school, comes into the fence, into the school to sell drugs. And when they identified him, he ran and jumped
out of the fence.
Yes. In the morning, he just passed quietly. But when they discovered him, he ran and jumped out of the fence. He came to sell drugs. So boys go as far as getting a uniform of a school, be it government or private, and enter the gate in the morning like any other students. They are in class and they smuggle their drugs and do their transactions. And when they have their needs, they go out of campus. That is what we have nowadays, unfortunately. And of course, if a child can be high at school under drug influence, of course, getting married is nothing to them. Having sex, that's why you have sex issues in school. It comes from the drugs. How come you start having sex in class until you get cameras and record yourselves having sex and so on? It all comes from this issue of drugs and so on. Yes, there's badly brought up from home, yes, but drugs also
contribute to
because drugs are aphrodisiacs. They're sexual stimulants. They make you are sexually active, you're hyperactive, and you feel like you could do it anywhere and so on.
Anything.
So if you could kiss in class, you could exchange vows and make marriages in class.
And your mates are there, they are clapping.
They are recording and sending on social media. This is the age where you can fight and kill yourselves, and people are there with cameras and so on. It's unfortunate that. So that's the Gen Z age, unfortunately, and we have to deal with that. And we have to deal with that with patience. Because they also have potentials, in as much as we sound like we are condemning them. They are very entrepreneurial. The best content creators we have nowadays are Gen Zs. They are self-employed. Before they get to advanced level, they are very creative. My boy is there, he was in the house with us from Form 3. At Form 3 in technical school, he was repairing phones. And I had to make him a notice I put on my veranda. People were coming to repair phones there. But at some point, it was taking him away from school, and we had to stop it. And then that only during of the days, we didn't repair phones. And so he could concentrate on his GC and all that. So that's Form 3. Where did he learn it? He's in Form 3, but he can repair phones. He changes screens of Android phones and so on. Where did he learn that from? We don't really know. But he does that. And today he does mini importation. He also creates YouTube and even Facebook accounts with Nigerian contacts, so that it could be monetized. It monetizes social media and so on.
So it could be monetized fast.
Yes, and he doesn't have a market today, but he makes a lot of money. As we speak, his house rent a month is 150. Just through this online business that he does like that.
There's money online.
There's a lot of money online.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money online.
And the generation is using the money online.
Yeah, that's their generation. And they're making use of it. Though he has a little bit of excesses.
Okay. We are getting some feedbacks here in the studio. And this is Counsellor Spencer T. Teke. He's saying, personally, I think Gen Z parenting is evolutionary, but we can remove the biblical aspect in parenting in general. He thinks we could remove it. So being it Gen Z or Gen X, Generation X, etc., all still needs full biblical involvement in parenting. Okay, I guess there's a mistake in his typing error. So he's saying that
he has to have the
involvement of biblical aspect is important. But yes, I think Gen Z parenting is great because it's evolutionary. Thoughts needs to be handled with a lot of caution. There is a lot to be said, but that's me just being brief. Thank you so much, Mr. Spencer T. Teke. We are getting again another one here in the studio from Sama. He's saying that Gen Z parenting are bringing a new kind of awareness into raising children. They are more open about emotions, mental health, and individual than past generation. Admire how they try to balance discipline with understanding, not just because I am so in quotes. But let me talk about why, in quotes still. At the same time, it's a generation learning to parent in a world that's constantly online. That can be challenging, trying to set healthy boundaries for kids while still being glued to the screen ourselves. But overall, Gen Z parenting seems determined to do better, to listen more, and to raise kids who feel seen and heard. The same thing you were saying, that the parenting has to do more with kids being seen and heard. Because this particular generation, they want to be heard.
You have to listen to them.
They are too inquisitive. They want to know whatever you are doing. Just they want to know what you are doing. I have one of my small girl at home. Each time you want to get out of the house, she will ask, "Are you going out? Is that a black shoe?" She wants to know the color of what you're wearing. She wants to know where you got that particular lipstick, where you got the chain. So they want to know more.
Where you are going.
Yeah, where you're going to, and when you're coming back, you should bring biscuits. They don't always forget that one. When you're coming back, always hold something. All right, back to the studio. Those are some of the two things we are getting.
I admire one of the comments there. I think the second comment you read, that shows a flaw from the parents as well.
Yeah.
You cannot parent children effectively about screens when you yourself spend so much time on the screen.
671-32-8909. Send me your contributions on what you think about this particular topic. All right, we are back on set and we're still having some contributions from this person is Abia Lawson. Lawson. He says, Gen Z parenting, this is a 21st century way of parenting style with the current increase in technology and rapid changing states of things as the world evolves. It is quite complex handling the aspect of parenting in this generation. Unlike the way some of us were being groomed, it's like everybody is giving their own experience by our own parents. It's quite different with this informational age. Oftentimes, we try to blend with current trends to see how to effectively bring up our children. That's one thing too we have to talk about. Parents find it so difficult to be able to suit in with this particular age, especially in a godly way as Christian parents. Time will fail me to talk about most of my experiences, but it is imperative to note that a lot stands at stake if we don't treat cautiously as parents in this generation. My advice to Gen Z parents out there is don't neglect the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health of your children. If you really want to raise up the ideal breed of children you desire. Wow, this is a lot.
Yeah.
This is really a lot. Don't neglect. Alright, we are having again another contribution still. This from Mr. Dave. He says, my neighbor came to my house one evening with her 5-year-old boy. In the course of our discussion, the child touches my breast. At first, I didn't say anything. I thought it was just a mistake, so I waved it away. Looks like this is not from Mr. Dave. This is from another person, anonymous. We don't know his name. I waved it away. Then he touched it again. The second time, I was embarrassed. I wanted to correct the child, but the mom stepped and was like, this junior too like breast. You know, it's common there. The parents, this junior too like breast. That's the way he says. So what can I do with such an experience?
That doesn't sound good
At all.
doesn't sound good, and I think it shows a gap, shows a vacuum with sex education. And I think that mother is very liberal to a fault, because of course from even immediately a child stops breastfeeding for the boy, I don't see what you should be doing around the mother's breast again, whether you are playing or whatever. You should
What should you be doing?
Because if you can touch the mother's breast while he's 2 years, 3 years, 4, and even 5, that means even the girls in his class in nursery 1
You will touch.
are at risk.
Yeah.
So I think the parents there has a lot of work to do. You know, sex education is very good. Of course, my children will give them sex education as young as they may be. They know what a penis is, what a vagina is, and all that, and they know what they are supposed to touch and what they're not supposed to touch. Even my son doesn't have to touch his sister in a kind of way. They could play around, but you're not supposed to touch her in a kind of way. We educate them on that. And if a child can touch the mother's breast and is even touching a neighbor's, as a woman's breast, come on. And then the mother, instead of rebuking the child, is saying, Junior too like breast. Come on. It's not.
We have some parents that
Mentioning
really do
breast is
those
not a
things.
problem. Mentioning breast is okay for a child to know that this is the breast. But the child should be taught that you are not supposed to touch anybody's breast. From 2 years, if it's a boy, you should not touch anybody's breast. Touch nobody's vagina. Touch nobody's penis. I mean, you are just in charge of your body, and whoever is bathing you doesn't have the right to touch you carelessly as well, apart from mommy and daddy who are bathing you, or maybe some other person who helps them to bathe you and so on. So there's a lot of sex education that needs to be done. Yes, that's Generation Alpha. 5 years old is Generation Alpha, who have worse complexities than even the Gen Z. So the parents have to be more careful than even the parents who are parenting the Gen Zs.
All right, we have again another question or life experience from Edna. She said, yesterday evening, my neighbor's son, who is about 4 years old, came to my house. He laid on the carpet, and my daughter, who is 13 years old, was playing with him and tickled him. I laid on the couch, very busy on my phone as usual. The child was laughing and saying, stop it, but she continued playing and making him to laugh. Then suddenly the boy said, I will tell my mother. My daughter was like, tell your mother what? Then she said, tell my mother that you are touching me, because my mother says if any girl touches my body is still under sex education, I should come and report to her. Say, I was confused.
That's good.
What can one do in such situation?
That's very good. Very good. So that parent has done well to her son.
Okay.
Yeah, because teach your son. Nobody should touch your body carelessly. Not even your teacher. We have had many cases in Boya, primary schools, of teacher, pupil, a lot of abusive issues, accusations, suspects here and there. Some cases are in court. Some have involved the state council that I know about and so on. Just because of things like this, So let's educate them. And the one who is 13, the parents have to educate the child as well. It's a neighbor's child. It's not it's not your sibling. So there must be precautions. You could play around with your brother or sister anyhow based on your family context. My children kiss me, they kiss my wife, of course, and we always tell them, they kiss me where? On the forehead.
Yes,
or a peck, not on the lips. and so on. And that's what we do before they go to school, all of that. We do that and so on. So families have their context, but train your child not to touch, because just a touch, we are seeing in Africa, but in the West, that's serious harassment.
That's right.
People that you're not supposed to touch, even a teacher should not touch a child's ear.
Wow.
Yeah, a parent can lock you up. You don't know what even turns the child on. You don't know what turns her on. And so there are a lot of issues. So unfortunately, that's the world in which we are. So let's take our precautions and keep our hands closer to our bodies when we walk. If not, we'll get into issues with neighbors and so on. Over harassment and so on and so forth. Yeah, that is it.
We're having again.
And it goes back to part of parenting is there's a book I recommend for parents.
All right.
The 5 love languages for teenagers. In fact, you have the 5 love languages for those who are looking forward to get married, or those who are married, for husband and wife. You have the 5 love languages for teenagers. You have the 5 love languages for kids. So you have to know your child's love language. My son is hyperactive. He's the type who can kiss, hold you, hug you, and so on. Even with our friends who come to the house, he's the first to run and hug and so on and so forth. And we keep telling him that it's not everybody that you just hug and so on and so forth. They are our friends, they're not your friends. So
that's right.
Yes, you have your own friends who will come and you can hug them, but not our friends, not this auntie, not this uncle. Reduce that and so on. And we are being patient with him and so on. So if you don't control him like that, he could also want to be very active with people out there. He's so sociable, so active and so on. So there's a lot of teaching and education.
Yeah.
That's what we said from the onset, that parenting has to do with a lot with training. It has to do a lot with training, a lot with educating. It takes a lot of time. It's a process. Training is not a day's job. It needs a lot of education before they could know what to do and what
exactly to do.
Yeah. And so, but one thing I know is that as Gen Z parents, or those parenting the Gen Zs, we really have to be involved with them. We really have to be involved with them. And if these children are not your friends, you really have a lot of issues with them. In fact, you cannot parent a Gen Z without being the child's friend.
That's right.
It's just impossible. It's just impossible. You have to create time to talk with them, create time to make friends with them. Get to that point where a boy impregnates a girl and is confident to come and tell you. He knows that you will not crucify him. You may shout, you may rebuke him, but in the end, he knows that you remain a father, an uncle, a mentor, and so on and so forth. An unfortunate situation happened in Boya almost 2 years ago. This lower 6 boy who committed suicide. That's actually my neighbor. We used to carry water together.
Wow.
We used to carry water together, and they gave him house rent to go pay, and 2 months house rent to go pay. That was about 140. And he went, and this Francis Gano, there was a boxing game. Francis Gano and this Nigerian guy.
Yes, he
went and gambled with it, and he lost it in that bet. And that same day, he drank gamalin and died.
Wow. And
my question is, why would he go that far? Don't you have friends? Don't you have people to talk to? Why can't you run away from the house if your uncle, if it's that kind of context where the person is maltreating you or is so tough? I mean, why do you take your life for 140,000 francs? Even if you were 10 million, even 20 million, why do you do that? Why don't you rather stay there and lock you up? You don't want to lock you up and so on. So you see that there is no friendship between the parents. That's why a child can go and take his life.
That's right.
And I'm challenging parents to be friendly, not just with your own biological children, even with people who are staying under your care. Anybody under you is your child. So treat them nice. Treat even neighbors' children nicely and so on. Be friends with them. I teach, and many students get to me with problems. Many, because of the way
you handle things.
The way I'm open with them. They have many things. There are students who give me phone numbers that I keep sleeping with him. I've committed 2 abortions for him. I don't know how to end the relationship. And I get to the guys.
Whoa.
I threaten them. I say, if you don't stop seeing this child, I'll bring the janabs and get you. University of Boya students, disturbing secondary school students, 2 have gotten to me like that. Of boys, they have been sleeping with them to the point of committing abortions for them. A child is in upper 6. And why did they get to me? As I teach and I advise them in class, after the class, they follow me to the server, and there's one who I remember her very well. I cannot forget. I've forgotten her name, but she was just crying her head of some paper. And when I told the paper, it was a phone number that was there. She could not even talk again. She was just shedding tears because she has been messed up and so on and so forth. These are things that happen. And if you don't make yourself to be available to help them out, they will just think that you are just like their parents too, who don't even want to talk to them and so on. So make a child to understand that. Ask her, are the boys disturbing you?
Those kind of questions.
Yes. I have my daughter in the house, Caroline. She's 21. She's in the university. A relative staying with us. I discussed that with her. We make it like a joke when we're discussing the house. So, are boys not coming after you? daddy should just be shy, so on and so forth. You know, but, so I'm getting my access way. So she knows that my father can ask this kind of question, or my uncle whatever can ask this kind of question. So I'm preparing the ground. Gradually I'm coming there, and that is it. And we could talk about that sometime. So it's very necessary to befriend them.
All right, another question. This is the last question I'm sure we're going to take today. This one say, is it really a good idea to make your children your friend? What are the boundaries?
All right. Of course, there has to be boundaries. The fact that I think the friendship is more at discussion levels. You don't have to take your mother's phone or your father's phone or even your elder brother or elder sister's phone, even your younger brother or younger brother's phone without the person's permission.
That's right.
You know, so those are some boundaries. Boundaries have to do with phones. Boundaries have to do with entering their bedroom. I don't enter. Caroline, my daughter in house, she's 21. She has her room. I don't enter. I knock if I'm to come in there.
That's right.
I knock. So you don't just go there because, and that's why you find domestic violence happening in some homes. Uncles sleeping with children because no boundaries anywhere. Things are just
barging into the house.
So there should be boundaries of accessing the person's room, you know, accessing the person's phone, you know, keeping late nights. The fact that I'm a friend to you doesn't mean that, you know, you come at home anytime. No, of course, 6 p.m. you should be home, or you text and send an information and so on and so forth. So those things should be there. My brother-in-law is in his 40s, came to do some work in Boya and live with us. And one night, after working, he went out and he texted me that, sorry, I'm late, I'll come back to the house. I'm drinking with some friends at the roadside. That's when he's 40-something, I'm 30-something. And he's taking permission from me because he's in my house.
That's true.
For those few days that I'll be late, just close the door. When I come, I'll call you, please you open the door for me. I say, it's okay, just feel free. When you come, just flash me and I'll come open the door for you. That's respect.
Yeah,
so if an elder could respect a younger one like that, then what more of a Gen Z? You should respect your siblings, respect your parents. So we are friends. Your father is your friend. Your mom is your friend. Your aunt, uncle, and so on. Doesn't mean you take their phones and do what you want to do with it. You know, you take their laptop and do what you want to do with it. Doesn't mean that he's watching something, he goes to the kitchen, you have to come back, you have changed the channel. There's some very little things that really matter so much. So the boundary should be there. And if you're a parent, when those misdemeanors are committed, rebuke immediately and correct the person. And never you change the channel while I'm still watching it. Take permission from me. My son will come right to the room and say, Daddy, can I watch cartoon? Can I watch cartoon? I'll say, go on, because I left the living room, went to the room, the living room went to the room, and he doesn't know whether I'm coming back or not. He has been there for some while, watching some kind of funny thing.
He doesn't understand.
So he comes to the room and say, can I change? I say, yes, go and change it. Sometimes I say, go and ask mom, because maybe she's still there. I don't know, she's in the kitchen. Go and ask mom. If she says, okay, you can change it and so on. So little permissions, little boundaries are really necessary in as much as you are friends with your children. We must keep those boundaries.
And if I must add to the aspect of when a visitor comes to the house, there's some children that when a visitor gets in, that's when they want to sit to hear what we are discussing with the visitor. Yeah. Sometimes you even give the visitor food, the child is almost falling on the ground, coming close to the food just because he or she wants to eat the same thing.
Yeah, langa.
Langa, that's the right word.
Train them. If you are giving them juice, they will not be going after a visitor.
Yeah.
Then we make the home to be like, it is visitors who get the best of reception, and then your own family cannot even feed well. And I think it's a problem. If there's salad in the house, you give only visitors. There's juice, you give only visitors. Your children will disgrace you in front of those visitors.
That's true.
But if you are giving them juice, you give them cakes once in a while and so on, you could enjoy that. You read the message. One important message there where somebody said, we don't give them everything that they ask for. It's very important. Your child says, Daddy, I want ice cream, you just buy. No. You should learn to say no as a parent. If not, you destroy them. Learn to say no. Delay gratification for them is very necessary. Very necessary.
Delay gratification for them is very necessary. Yeah. So as I told us, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to an interesting part of this program. And that part is we are getting to the street. We did not just want to bring our guest, our counselor, to tell us more about this particular topic. We decided to go on the street. Let's get what the layman will have to say about this particular topic. So let's get to the street and find out what they think about Gen Z parenting.
My name is Collins, and I'm a parent, and I want to give you my own opinion about Gen Z parenting. I think Gen Z parenting, training your child in the Gen Z way, as we all call it. We're in a Gen Z generation where children grow up with a lot of laissez-faire. You know, the world is getting modernized every day, and we are getting exposed into the internet, put the good, the bad side of the internet. And yeah, for me personally, I think Gen Z parenting, when monitored, is good. Why do I say so? Personally, I practice it because my daughter has a tablet, and she definitely has limitations to that, because we all know that the open space, the open internet is jam-packed with so many educative and as well as harmful things that can as well destroy or build up your child. So personally, I practice Gen Z parenting, which for me is, I think it's good when monitored. Because if you give your child that complete freedom to browse the internet whenever they want, watch TV, and go to bed at whatever time they want to get to, it becomes dangerous. But now, if you have to put some limitations to these things, like, you know, your child or your children have a bedtime, let's say by 8 p.m. or by 9, they have to go to bed because they have other responsibilities to handle, like going to school the next day and all other things. And also giving them access to internet. You know, there are so many ways that we can put a block to some websites or some particular areas of the internet so that they don't get access to it, and we only give them access to the educative part of it. You know, if you want to completely stop a child from getting into the Gen Z lifestyle, I don't think you're doing much good to that. From my own opinion, I don't know what you think. From my own opinion, I don't think you're doing much good for that child.
My name is Kingsley. Talking about Gen Z parenting, for me, is both ways. Is good and it is bad, because for me, I'm a parent and I have a daughter, so I give her almost what she wants, but making her know that she needs to work for what she really wants. But giving her everything that she wants doesn't mean that I'm spoiling the child. In the sense that she will not get it from another person out there, and in the careful manner, because know that I'm giving her something, but I'm limiting her on certain things.
Okay, you're welcome back on set. We've had a lot of contributions at the level of what they think. And one of the things I can say, or one of the things I got, is the aspect of which you said before we went back to the Vox pop-up, before we went back to getting what they think about. It's the aspect of putting boundaries, setting boundaries. So what can you say about those particular aspects?
Yeah, like a few persons commented there, the issue of regulating their screen time.
Yeah.
I think is very important. The issue of censorship, controlling what they have access to, is very important. There are some homes that have alcohol, and the fact that there's alcohol doesn't mean that
you must take them.
That this alcohol or mom's wine is in the fridge doesn't mean that you open the fridge and take that. Yeah, so those restrictions have to be there. I believe so much in structures. Yeah, children should have structures, whether they are teenagers or not. They should have structures. They should have a time when they are going for basketball. They are going for basketball. They are going for their games. They should have time when it's for studies. They should have time when they are supposed to help with household chores and so on and so forth. You know, so controlling their screen time is very important. They should have a limit. Everything should have a limit. If the house is so loose, I bet you are destroying them. Unfortunately, the US is what it is today because it is very loose.
Yeah.
You don't shout at the child, he calls 911. You know, you slap a child, he calls 911, they arrest
everything 911.
and so on. And we can see where 911 has led them into. You know, about 60% of American teenagers have been to the cell, at least for a few hours. They have been arrested either for wrong driving, drug issues, and all that and so on. I'm talking about 60%. But here in Cameroon, I can boast that most teenagers know about the police station only when they go and make ID cards.
That's true.
Yeah, that is it. But their friends back there have been arrested for a few hours for 1 or 2 issues and so on and so forth, paying 1 or 2 penalties. Here, their parents come and bail them. Yeah, they sign undertakings not to do drugs, not to do this because of all of these issues and so on. So, too much of freedom is really an issue.
It's really an issue.
We have to really
we have to curve all of those issues.
Yeah.
And we have another interesting part of this particular program. And that part is the ballot box, where our guest is going to pick any question from that box. So it can be personal.
Okay.
Can be related to marriage.
All right.
Can be related to anything. You answer it for you read the question aloud. and you're going to answer it for us. So,
You know, when you mentioned the ballot box, you know, we're from the elections, you know, and it's been a very funny one.
I get.
It is well.
All right. Just pick one paper from it.
All right.
And you read it for us.
I'm suspecting these are your questions. I hope they will not touch me.
Well, the viewers did the questions.
Okay. Should I read?
This is why you're saying, okay, that means it's not complex enough.
Anyways, let me read it.
All right.
It says, did you ever have a worst experience in friendship, and what was that? Yeah, of course I did. While reading, it just came to my mind. Did you ever have a worst experience in friendship, and what was that? Yes, I did. I happen to have been used by friends to an extent.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt used and exploited. So much that, you know, I'm in a university as an undergrad, and my mom knows I'm staying alone. But my friends who have challenges come and squat with me. You know, and somebody stays with me. He claims not to have money. None of the parents don't have money. He doesn't have money. The mother doesn't have money. The wife is with me. The younger brother travels out.
Whoa!
You know, and then not long again, he too travels.
That's a lot.
I mean, somebody is living with you, eating your food. Your mother is struggling and sending you money. The person does everything. The person is preparing papers to travel. You don't even know, and the person travels. You know, and
under your nose.
And I think that, yes, I think that was really hurtful. It was really hurtful, and you know, you consider that's a brother. I mean, you have
you live with him.
You are eating food that my mother is struggling. Yeah, you bring nothing from home, but you share everything, and you know, you give the impression that there's nothing, but you are working out things, and the evidence of it is that even when you are out there, you come, you go, you come, you go. You have never sent me even 2,000 francs, you know, but you are there. So it shows that it was really a very bad character issue and all that.
Exploitation.
Yeah, that's exploitation of the highest order, and I think that it was
a bad experience.
I think it's terrible.
Yeah, normally just from that, it's really.
I think it's terrible. My mom knew him, you know, and because she discovered that, and she would ask, "This is your friend? How?" And when, you know, she knows that you're trying to assist somebody, and then later on hears that the person, wow, so he could travel out. You know, they always give you stories like there was no money. Okay, what about now that the money is actually there, and so on, and nothing actually happened. So I think that's my fair share of bad friendship that I had.
Bad friendship.
Yes. Other than that, I've been blessed with very good friends, and who are very reliable, who are very trustworthy, and that is it. And most of my friends, actually, my wife's friends, we flow together, we function together, and we do a lot of things together. Business together, ministry together, partner together. And
all right.
Yes. All is well.
Okay, sir, we are already at the end of this program, but we will not want you to leave without maybe telling us about your book, if you have a book you've written, and maybe social media handles where people are going to get to you, and maybe some information.
Yeah, thank you so much, Truth. I've written so many books.
All right.
I've written about 18 books. Most of my books are for teenagers. 18? Yes, I've written out of the 18, 7 are a teenager series. There's series 1, 2, 3, right up to 18. Some boarding schools use my books. A few churches use my books. The books meant for teenagers. Some of my books are titled, we have the Teenager's Handbook, which I did with my wife. It has to do with basics of the teenager, you know, sex education, puberty, as you are evolving, you know, things you should know about yourself. Yeah. Series 2 is Sex Traps on the Teen Lane. And those sex-related challenges that teenagers face. Lust, masturbation, indecency, pedophilia, transgender, all those issues. I tackle that in that book. There's also Deadly Snares on the Teen Lane. These ones are those heavy ones. The drug issues, the cultism issues, you know, the gambling issues. I handled 20 of them in that particular one. There is Success Chronicles for Teenagers, where it's a combination of success stories, so, you know, by great people, which can inspire teenagers. There is the Teenager's Career Guide that helps you in finding the right career, and several other books which.
So if people want to get those books, how can they? And of course,
my most recent book, which we did this year with my wife, is some premarital counseling. Wow. Yeah. We discovered that many persons come to us. I'm not a trained marriage counselor, but by experience or by exposure or by knowledge, many persons come. Different people that don't know from different churches come. for us to work with them. And we just studied wise that we should come up with this book which could help them. Yeah, because we realize how many churches don't prioritize premarital counseling, and people just get married anyhow without some basic understanding about marriage. And which affects them in the long run. So we had to do that book together. So you could get me. My name is Arthur Njumendeli. On Facebook, Arthur Njumendeli, and of course on WhatsApp 674798616. Yeah, you could get me.
Can you take the number again?
674798616.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. We are so grateful.
I'm also on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, still Arthur Njumendeli. Everywhere, Arthur Njumendeli.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember, it's just that name and the number he just gave. And we are so grateful and happy having you on set. We've digested the topic, Gen Z parenting. And trust me, I'm sure we're going to do a part 2 of this topic here. Because we really have to talk about it. And digest it more and more and more. And it's just that time where we come to the end of this program. But we are not taking leave of you completely. We still want you to stay cool. Keep following Royal TV. And this is Speak to the Counsellor by your girl, Lima Mojoko.
Speak to the Counsellor with your girl, Lima Mojoko. Educative, informative, and inspiring. We ask questions, raise concern, and propose solution.
Innovating in the audiovisual landscape is our dream. Bringing together finest journalists and media personnel in this new era of media operations can only be possible thanks to Royal TV. Royal TV, coming up with news, entertainment,
no matter what, ask me cheap, I got go pay. Yeah,
documentaries, sports,
Bekele Abubakar!
debates. I was shocked that preparations are on the ground.
Get to propagate wrong narratives.
And many more to your doorsteps ever than before. Royal TV, your daily companion. Every day in life brings to you new challenges. With Royal TV, we are determined to accompany you in our entertainment, news, sports, debates, documentaries, and many more. Join our cream of journalists, presenters, reporters as we are ready to begin serving you soon. Keep watching Royal TV.
Playing with you in a way that when you're in a new relationship, you start thinking that this other person is not sufficient.
At the end of it, we'll start begging for them for restructural adjustment.
Beyond! Rise and celebrate a moment!
Royal TV, your daily companion.